Writing, words, and language are all storming inside me, pushing from the inside. Sometimes I don't feel as though I am an author. I am someone who channels these stormy forces, reins them in, gives them form, and sets them loose to change the world however they can. The storm fuels the first write. The drive for perfection, an imp summoned to encourage me when I lack faith, fuels the rewriting process. He's armed with a newspaper and bops me whenever I stop. You can do better, he says, make it more perfect, flow more smoothly, show more, tell less, and over until I am fed up with getting buffeted by a newspaper, the imp tied to a chair, paper up his nose. Done at last, or as done as any writer ever is with a piece of their work. To let loose the storm, I need a comfortable space. It is not terribly comfortable to ride on the back of a storm, especially when I am writing about personal issues, personal struggles, and dark times in my life where I barely made it out the other end. I make a space for myself where I can forget my discomfort, forget the struggle, and capture the story. I build a nest out of a comfy bed, soft pillows, stuffed animals, and comforting textures. My dog is there, adding hair and character to every interaction. She will let me know when I need to eat, get up, stretch, do things other than write. Without her help, I would simply be absorbed, writing until I fall asleep. My first and second drafts are in pen. Here I can touch the language, manipulate it, feel it move. Typing feels so academic, and computers are a barrier to the colors I use to paint my language. I can also take my pen anywhere, the scratch on a page far more discreet than the clicking of keys. Poetry classes are great inspiration for the flow and rhythm of my piece. As for what I write, I feel like that can speak better for itself. I talk about some triggering things, notably self-injury, so I will let you know when those things come up, but the majority of the presentation should be trigger-free. Please take care of yourself. There is never any shame in self-care. Transness is bigger than myself. Bigger than myself because it goes beyond me. Connects me to so many people on an intimate level of understanding. These people who I haven't met, will never meet, and might not like, are my siblings because, whether I hate them or don't always understand them, these people are my brothers, sisters, in-betweens, united in dysphoria. Whether from a boyhood that wasn't, a girlhood that would never be, or there are more than two genders, fuckhead, we are all united because we deal with many of the same things. And this is magic, a wonder, because I can use my words, my story, to create something that my siblings united in dysphoria will be able to relate to. But here's where it gets tricky, because my story is not their story, and every time I open my mouth, the people who are not my people take that story as capital G, gospel. I have a trans friend. I know how it goes. High stakes to speak for my tiny community, my tiny, beaten-down community with an attempted suicide rate of 40%. What drives you, my brothers, sisters, in-betweens, united in dysphoria, to try to take your own life? I know, oh, I know, dysphoria is a killer, deadly, almost impossible to learn to live with, and were that not enough, the world fights you, every single step, through your journey to a body you call home and your comfortable place. Social, physical, emotional transition, especially for my brothers, sisters, in-betweens united in dysphoria of color, likely to end up selling drugs or turning tricks, so likely to live in poverty, because why hire a sibling when you can hire someone who doesn't inspire hate? Someone who doesn't come from the people whose holiday is remembering those dead of hate. When it is legal in 40 states, 8 of 10 states, 80% to fire my siblings united in dysphoria for having the courage to be who they are, for fighting deadly killer dysphoria and even deadlier hate. I know, brothers, sisters, in-betweens, why you try to take your own lives in such numbers, because I once tried to take mine, one of the 40% who does. I feel your pain, my pain, our pain, and I hope I can speak it, can bring this pain into the light. Through this light, bring change, bring relief to this beaten-down community whose lives are not about changing themselves, but shifting the world to let everyone see who they are. These are my people, from the land of the boyhood that wasn't, the girlhood that would never be, and the borderlands in between. I speak for them, but not over them, I hope. I speak, I sing, I yell, in hopes that you people who are not my people will understand our private, silent killer and the louder, angry killer of society's hate. I sing for you my story, not capital G gospel, but capital P personal. My journey home to the boyhood that wasn't. Come with me and make this your journey. I include a lot of personal details in my story. I have no shame of how I got here, and the story demanded them. It would feel incomplete without tales of how trans people learn about their bodies through fantasy and masturbation, how they control their bodies through self-injury when the person in the mirror isn't who is supposed to be there. This is dysphoria and the later result of dysphoria, although explaining something that is so hard to justify to yourself, let alone another person, was tricky. Showing, rather than telling, was even worse. You spend a lot of time covering up your feminine shape, which baffles your friends. You're gorgeous, they say, why cover up? But it isn't that you dislike your body, because you don't. It is a beautiful body with nice breasts and hips, rather attractive if you like that sort of thing. This body just doesn't really feel like yours. You get startled by the presence of your breasts. You will forget that they are there as you go about your day. You will be minding your own business, and they will bounce, giving a vivid and painful reminder that this body is not a home. Beyond your body is physical dysphoria. It is terribly jarring when people refer to you with female pronouns. It is devastating, and you don't understand why they don't use male pronouns, why no one can see that you are really a boy. As far as cures for dysphoria go, I've only ever managed to find 3 things that help. Sex, binding, and cutting. Obviously, one is much more fun and far less destructive than the others. After the short piece on sex, there will be a longer piece on self-injury, so if you need to excuse yourself, please feel free to do so. It will only go on for a minute, and feel free to come back for the less triggering parts of the presentation. Your first love teaches you to bind, how to squeeze your breasts down with an ace bandage, and for the first time since you grew breasts, you can look in the mirror and recognize who you are. When you bind, your body feels like home in a way it doesn't any other time. Your reflection actually looks like you, and you can run your hands down your chest without any unpleasant jolts of, those aren't supposed to be there. She helps you in other ways too. She will kiss you when you bind, kiss your flat chest, and have sex with you without pressuring you to take your shirt off. She can see and feel the erection that you know is there, and this is the greatest medicine of all for your dysphoria. Even though you cannot touch your dick because your hands will tell your brain that it is not there, when she touches you and describes what is going on, it takes care of the hard-on that your brain knows is there but your body can't feel. The same thing happens when you talk on the phone with her and she tells you how good your dick feels inside her. Through her eyes, you can see who you are supposed to be. Like most first loves, it doesn't last, and when you end up alone, you have no way of coping with your new dysphoria. Often, your ribs are too sore for binding, and even when you do bind, no one who is important sees you as male. You stare at your reflection, shirtless, despising your breasts and your cowardice in not coming out. You're screaming on the inside and you want to be screaming on the outside. You pick up your knife and slide it lightly up your arm. It doesn't bleed, just weeps a little. In that moment, that one glorious moment, everything goes away and all you feel is a slight physical twinge. Angrier now, you take your weapon tool and slide it down one of your breasts. The wound cries, dripping a few drops of blood. The cut looks good and right there. This wound seems like a precursor to the top surgery you want so desperately. It cools your anger and you are more careful with the next cuts, making just a few more before you wash off your knife and disinfect everything. You're somewhat ashamed of your cuts, and you take care to hide them from everyone else, but this is the first thing you can do on your own that gets rid of your dysphoria. This weapon tool allows you to have a say against a body that doesn't fit and boobs that startle you every damn time you see them. Writing about other people in an autobiographical story is tricky, especially when those people will no doubt want to read what you write. I want to tell my story, but their stories are all part of what happened in my transition. The story demanded the details, and them, so in they went. I changed all of the names, of course, but that doesn't mean that these people won't be able to recognize themselves in my words. In particular, writing about my mother and father is tricky. I only have one of each, after all. In the end, my solution is somewhat simple, if inelegant. I haven't let my mom read the piece because I don't feel like she needs to know exactly how much sex her son was having. And I don't talk to my father anymore. But once again, my writing can explain better than I. The first time your father tells you that he is proud of you, all you did was put on a dress. Your rage builds until you are almost shaking. The dress is not to please him. It was not to blossom into a woman, not to conform to his ideas of femininity. It is something you did to experiment with your comfort levels. This mask is not you, it is something you are performing. You are a person who has achieved so much, getting excellent grades in the toughest courses your high school has to offer. You volunteer with the library and help to tutor people during your free periods. He is not proud of you for any of these things, but he is proud of you for a $14 dress that you hate. The boy you are inside, the person that you really are, that your father refuses to see, is not a dress wearer, and the fact that this is what he decides to take pride in, starts the end of your relationship with your father. Mom has always been more supportive of your more tomboyish ways, so you talk to her about the way your father feels. This is the first time you see a crack in the mask of your mother's support. You realize that your mother doesn't understand you or why you are the way you are or what you want, but she sees how happy you are with your manly watch and the suit you bought while passing as a male. She is almost always willing to tell you how sharp you look in your suit and loves sneaking colorful ties into your Christmas stocking or shopping cart. She doesn't understand why you want these things, but she sees how happy you are, and this is something she wants for you. You are grateful for her support and amazed that she will bend reality to accommodate you because she wants to see you happy. Writing this was the most exhausting and somehow satisfying thing I have ever done. I relived my life over and over again in the process, rewinding old memories to watch them happen again and again. I don't recommend trying to do it, living through puberty again and again in an attempt to chase down a fleeting sensation and pin it to the page. So why would I do that? To teach, to show. Because there is no better drug than writing, nothing that feels quite as good as the rush of words on a page or someone saying, "That's exactly right, you got it." Bread cannot feed me, but compliments will sustain me, make the pain worth it. I leave you with this, your evaluation and some parting thoughts in poem form. When I write, I recreate the stars, giving them a rhythm absent in the real world. Life doesn't flow, but story flows. Still, the stars they are, and here in this tiny world, though I create it, I am not God, but bard, for stars would obey God, instead of demanding better music. To the outside, writing is awkward, attempting to build a house, a home, a cottage, out of marshmallows and toothpicks. Language is clumsy, fragile, one wrong letter shattering the entire structure. Harder still when something matters. These stars and hand I was dealt are similar to others who have been cast out, thrown to the wolves, to be devoured by hate, pain, and loneliness. I have toothpicks and marshmallows, shallow platitudes and reassurance, yet my toothpick house draws people to admire. Such a foolish work. Look closer, I say. See these wolves and my people left to be devoured? They look. How courageous, they say, about my toothpick house. What a marvel, a wonder, a show. Steam flows out of my ears. Running from the wolves is not a show, is not courage. I am not superior to those who died for lacking my head start of skin color and not being able to run faster. Building a toothpick hut out of letters and hope and tears might be foolish, stupid courage, but I am not a soldier. I know not how to fight. So this is how I do battle, because what I know is toothpicks and marshmallows and persistence beyond what is healthy. I will build a spectacle to draw in those that know not what they do, attempting to get them to change. So you have your people left out in the cold. Foolish courage, born of desperation, find your toothpicks and marshmallows. What story would you tell?